Hey everybody, I'm Jen Merckling. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I am talking about homeschool curriculum today. Mine's all been arriving in the mail and it's all lined up on my dining room table. I thought it would be fun to go over what I chose this year to do with my first grader, and then in a second part I'm going to talk about what I chose for my freshman daughter. So part one, we're going to dive into first grade. Part two, we'll talk about freshman year of high school. This is going to be my 15th year homeschooling, and so I'm excited to share what we're doing with you. Let's hop in. On this side of the table, I've got my first grader stuff, so I'm going to talk about that first. Okay, so for him, math was really easy. I have used Saxon Math for, I don't know, I've been homeschooling for 15 years. I've probably used Saxon Math for almost every single one of the 15 years. So I already had the teacher book, and all I had to do was buy the student workbooks, and so that was an easy decision for me. In fact, these were under $30 on Amazon, so I thought that was a great deal. And as you can see, it's Math 2, and so that is a little maybe strange since he is a first grader, but I think Saxon starts out really gently. So when he was in kindergarten, we were using the Math 1. We had done their kindergarten program when he was in preschool age. He's a little bit older for his age, or for the grade, so he's going to be 7 as this school year starts. So we'll just take it slow. If it starts to get kind of trickier, then we'll just slow down a little bit. But so yeah, Saxon at the beginning, if you're at the beginning of elementary school, starts out very gently. So that's why I've got Math 2 there for him. And that was the easiest decision I had to make. Then I had to think about reading, and reading was the next most important piece for me. And I ended up using Sonlight this year. I decided to use their language arts. So it comes in, like, this is all shrink wrapped and has all of the lessons laid out, very organized. Sonlight is super, super organized. So it'll say what the phonics lesson is, what pages, and then they have all of their activities super detailed. This is going to be my first time using Sonlight for like a phonics type of curriculum, but it looked like it was the perfect spot for where we left off last year. So I went ahead and grabbed it. I didn't need all of the readers that came with it. A lot of them are things like Dr. Seuss books that we already had. So I went ahead and I ordered all of their I Can Read It books. We did not have any of those. So they look perfect because they start right off with just that short vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant pattern. I think a few sight words like is and that. I think these will be exactly where we need to start with him. So I'm very excited about that. So I went ahead and got their language arts, and they suggested using handwriting without tears, and I've used that for years and years, and so that was easy. And I don't get the teacher manual. We just kind of work through the book according to what it says to do in here, whatever letters we're working on. So that was an easy, very inexpensive thing to grab. And so along with the whole Sonlight piece, since I decided to go ahead and use their language arts, I went back to do the history and Bible. The twins are in the basement, so you might hear them. So I went ahead and I did not order all of the books. It's very expensive to order the whole entire set. I ended up just getting the instructor guide, and I decided to write down the books that are on the list of the readers. And I'm going to go through and just decide. A lot of them I already own. Some of them are very easy to find in the library, and some of them are probably going to be a little cheaper on Amazon. So I have a little worksheet that I made. I do that almost every year when I have a curriculum where it comes sort of as a box set. I think it's a good way to save money, is just write down all of the resources that are needed, and then whether you have them or not, and then we'll see what I still need to buy and purchase and where. So I have that, and this little planning sheet you can find actually on my website. at jenmerkling.com. It's one of my free subscriber resources. So if you sign up, it's in my subscriber library. And I think it's helpful as you're planning out your school year. It's part of the long range homeschool planner, or the, I think sometimes it might be called the Homeschool at a Glance. That's the planner. So hopefully that will help keep the budget in check. And then for their history stuff, it comes also shrink wrapped. I have already been working on putting it in the binder. So I've used Sonlight before. I haven't used it every year because I had 3 kids that were a little bit of a wider age range, and for me it was easier and less expensive to use Tapestry of Grace. But because I'm basically only going to be teaching my first grader, I said, let's go ahead and try Sonlight again. And then my freshman daughter is doing her own thing, so I can really focus on him. So we'll see. I'm excited to do it again. But so I've been organizing all of that. I already had Sonlight. You can buy tabs. I think it goes up to week 36. So I already had them. Oh yeah, here's the tabs. I'm still working on putting them in. All the way to 36 weeks. So I've been, for example, week 1. Here's the history, Bible, literature lessons for week 1. And then right behind them, I put in my language arts lessons. And you can see there's a little bit they had for him to do. That will be his copy work that first week. We'll be talking about capital letters at the beginning of a sentence. And then these are the little flashcards that went with the lesson. So all the things that I need for week 1 are there. Super organized. That's the nice thing about Sonlight. And it can be expensive, but like I said, if you kind of price out the books, you can maybe keep your costs a little bit manageable. I also really like their timeline, so I went ahead and grabbed that this year. And I got the little figures for what he'll be studying, which is sort of ancient world history for the little first graders. So that is how I'm doing. Language arts, history, Bible. I didn't buy really any of the history books, except I thought this one sounded great, Time Traveler. I thought we'd probably be using it a lot. I didn't think I would find this in my library necessarily, and he actually has already been loving this book. Really interesting, fun information, and you're the little time traveler, and he thought that was fun. So we did that. Last piece of everything for my first grader, I'm trying to think, is science, and I really don't try to get too worried about history or science. I really think when they're in the early elementary, you've got to be mostly focused on reading and math. But I already own these Apologia books, and he's a real animal kiddo. So we'll probably work through these just hit and miss kind of on the couch. This one is the flying creatures, which he loves birds, and as it gets to be winter and we'll set up some bird feeders, we'll kind of get more into this one. And it goes into lots of detail. The whole book is really about flying creatures. It does have a little bit about flying dinosaurs and has a bit about bats. And bugs. So perfect. He'll be happy with that. Astronomy. I just thought we would maybe hit a little bit this year, and he loves also the swimming creatures. So we have that one. What he wanted a little more of this year that I noticed was in the Sonlight curriculum was some science activities. So I didn't order Sonlight's science package, but I did get their experiment books. So I think this volume 1 actually went with their kindergarten, and this was with the first grade. I think that about covers it. So that's what we're doing for first grade. I'm excited. If you have any questions, ask away in the comments or visit me online on my blog, and happy planning, everybody.